Once upon a time, in a sprawling kingdom nestled between jagged mountains and endless fields of golden wheat, there existed a quaint village named Astravia. Every night, when the sun descended behind the peaks and painted the sky with hues of orange and violet, starlight rained down on the land like diamonds scattered across velvet. This celestial glow was no ordinary light. It carried magic that inspired poets, healed wounds, and brought joy to even the heaviest hearts. But one fateful evening, as twilight draped itself over the horizon, something extraordinary and terrifying happened. The starlight disappeared. At first, the villagers dismissed it as an eclipse or some rare alignment of the heavens. But as hours turned into days, they realized the truth. The stars had been silenced. Without their gentle radiance, the nights grew darker than anyone could have imagined. Crops began to wilt under the oppressive gloom, laughter faded from the streets, and despair settled like a thick fog over Astravia. Among the villagers was a spirited young woman named Seraphina. Unlike many others, she refused to succumb to fear. Her grandmother had often told tales of the Shadow Empress, a mythical ruler who dwelled in the Obsidian Citadel at the edge of reality. According to legend, the Shadow Empress despised all forms of light and sought to extinguish them wherever they shone brightest. Could she be responsible for stealing the starlight? With nothing but her wits, a tattered map etched onto parchment, and a small lantern fueled by enchanted flame, Seraphina set out on a perilous journey to confront the Shadow Empress and reclaim what had been lost. Seraphina's path led her through the ironwood forest, where trees twisted upward like skeletal hands clawing at the heavens. The air was heavy with silence, save for the occasional rustle of unseen creatures lurking just beyond sight. As she ventured deeper, the forest seemed alive, its shadows shifting unnaturally around her. Eventually, she reached the precipice of a colossal canyon known as the Vale of Echoes. Legends claimed that those who dared cross it would hear the whispers of their own doubts and fears amplified tenfold. Bridging the chasm was a pathway made of mirrored glass, reflecting not her physical form, but fragments of her soul, her hopes, dreams, regrets, and insecurities. Summoning every ounce of resolve, Seraphina stepped onto the bridge. With each footfall, the reflections shifted, showing glimpses of moments long past and futures yet unwritten. She saw herself failing, falling, giving up but also succeeding, rising, triumphing. Ignoring the cacophony of voices urging her to turn back, she pressed onward until she stood before the gates of the Obsidian Citadel. The citadel loomed above her, its spires piercing the heavens like daggers. Its walls shimmered with an oily blackness that seemed to absorb even the faintest glimmer of light. Inside, the halls were labyrinthine, lined with statues frozen mid-motion, their faces contorted in expressions of anguish. At the heart of the fortress, within a cavernous throne room, sat the Shadow Empress. She was a figure of pure darkness, her silhouette outlined by faintly glowing runes etched into the floor beneath her. Her hair cascaded like liquid smoke, and her robes billowed as though caught in an eternal wind. Her eyes burned with an intensity that pierced straight through Seraphina's resolve. "Who dares disturb my dominion?" the Shadow Empress demanded, her voice resonating like rolling thunder. "I am Seraphina," the young woman replied, her voice steady despite the tremor in her chest. "I've come to retrieve the starlight you stole." The Shadow Empress let out a chilling laugh. And why should I care for your pitiful starlight? It is fleeting, fragile, and meaningless. Shadows endure while light fades. But without light, shadows cannot exist, Seraphina countered. They are two sides of the same coin. By taking the starlight, you've disrupted the balance of creation itself. For a brief moment, the Shadow Empress hesitated, her expression softening ever so slightly. Then her gaze hardened again. If you wish to reclaim the starlight, you must prove yourself worthy. Face 3 trials, and if you succeed, I shall return what I have taken. Fail, and you will remain here forever. Seraphina was thrust into a chamber filled with illusions designed to prey on her deepest fears. She found herself surrounded by towering flames, pursued by shadowy figures, and haunted by visions of failure. Yet she reminded herself that these were mere phantoms, projections of doubt meant to break her spirit. Clutching her lantern tightly, she walked steadily forward, refusing to let fear dictate her steps. In the next trial, Seraphina encountered a monstrous creature chained to the ground, its body covered in thorny vines that writhed and snapped at anything that approached. Though its appearance was horrifying, Seraphina noticed its eyes pools of sorrow and pain. Summoning her courage, she knelt beside the beast and began carefully untangling the thorns, ignoring the cuts they left on her hands. Beneath the brambles lay a wounded phoenix, its feathers dull and lifeless. As soon as it was freed, the bird let out a mournful cry and transformed into a radiant being, showering Seraphina with healing light before soaring away. Finally, Seraphina faced 2 Dorsown bathed in blinding brilliance, the other cloaked in impenetrable darkness. The Shadow Empress appeared beside her, her presence cold and unyielding. "Choose wisely," she warned. "One door leads to redemption, the other to ruin." After a moment of contemplation, Seraphina placed her hand on the darkened door. "Light reveals only what we already know," she said softly. "Darkness holds mysteries waiting to be understood." The door creaked open, revealing a crystalline orb suspended in midair. Within it pulsed the stolen starlight, casting silvery beams that illuminated the entire chamber. The Shadow Empress watched silently as Seraphina cradled the orb in her arms, her expression unreadable. "You have proven yourself wise beyond measure," the Shadow Empress admitted, her tone tinged with reluctant admiration. Perhaps I was wrong to covet the starlight. Perhaps harmony truly requires both light and shadow." With the starlight restored, the Obsidian Citadel dissolved into mist, and Seraphina found herself standing once more in Astravia. The villagers erupted in cheers as the stars reappeared in the sky, their twinkling brilliance bringing warmth and hope back to the land. From that day forward, they celebrated not only the light, but also the shadows it cast, understanding that neither could exist without the other. As for the Shadow Empress, some say she retreated to the farthest reaches of the cosmos, learning to coexist with the light rather than destroy it. Others believe she became a guardian of balance, ensuring that neither light nor darkness ever overwhelmed the world again. And thus, under the watchful gaze of the stars, peace returned to Astravia, and Seraphina became a hero whose name would echo through the ages.